Today's daily crypto update is sponsored by TaskFair. TaskFair is a decentralized platform for home services on demand with a mission to revolutionize the gig economy. TaskFair is currently having the pre-sale of their ERC20 based token until December 31st. Finally, there will be a finite supply of 200 million tokens and no pre-mining. If you want to learn more about TaskFair, check out their website. The link to that will be in the description of this video. Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. As per usual, I will be going over my normal schedule of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, Neo, Vertcoin, Monero, OmiseGo, Lisk, Cardano, and Iota. So let me start off by just giving you a quick market update on what's been going on. We can see that a lot of the bigger cryptos are starting to slow down now, and that's kind of what I predicted in my previous daily crypto update. So Bitcoin is down about 6% over the past 24 hours. Ethereum is actually the one outlier between the big three that actually saw its price increase over the past 24 hours. So up about 9%. It did move a bit lower from the all-time high that it put in today, I believe. That was a bit above $700. So it obviously got a nice jump that continued a bit longer than Bitcoin and Litecoin just because it was the third one to really start climbing back up, right? So it's not really that it had a bigger jump or anything like that. It's just that it was the last one to get its bounce, if so to speak, and that's why it's still doing a bit better than the other two. Now Ripple has actually been doing pretty well here over the past day or two, climbed back towards 50 cents, and obviously very nice move. I'll cover that in technical analysis. Iota actually came under fire recently for a bit of a misunderstanding on the Microsoft partnership, which now seems that they are not partnering with Microsoft in any way. So that obviously created a lot of controversy. I'm not sure I understood the whole thing, but Iota did take a hit because of that and lost some trust. So down about 13% over the past 24 hours. We'll have to see how all that plays out, in the next coming weeks, but it's obviously not the best sign, right? And I will cover it in the technical analysis, of course, at the end of this video. EOS, big mover today, up 41%, all the way up to $7.58. So definitely climbing up for EOS here. Might even get to the top 10 ranking. Definitely moved up pretty quickly, but it has been climbing higher. And I'm not going to go through all of these. Looks like Tron is doing really well, up over 100%. I'm not too sure. I don't have much knowledge on that cryptocurrency though. And other than that, Decentraland has been moving higher over the past couple days, it looks like. So yeah, just wanted to kind of update you on some of these. Verge is actually up 47%. Big move today. Got a lot of people talking about it, so it looks like it's going back towards a $200 million market cap. And a pretty big breakout. Let's just go ahead and quickly take a look at the chart here, just to get an idea of what's happening. And it looks like we broke above our previous all-time high at around 0.0074. And obviously that created a pretty massive spark all the way up to, let's see, 0.01. So pretty big move here, definitely getting into a much higher range, and hopefully we can see it hold above that. I'll definitely keep you updated in the next coming weeks. But let's get started with our technical analysis here on Bitcoin, and we can see that we had a pullback down to our uptrend line over here, bounced nicely off that actually, which is always good to see. And now what we're seeing happen is a little bit of a flat candlestick. So that's actually pretty interesting, consider the drop that we have and the fact that we bounced a little bit higher. This could mean a couple of things, right? This is more or less a doji candlestick in the making right now, indecisive candlestick, so it can go either ways. But a couple of things that are for sure are that, for one, we have a bit of a downtrend now in the making on the RSI. We broke out of our uptrend line over here, so that's obviously a pretty bearish signal, and we could see that move back down below the 70 line, which would be even more bearish. We got the histogram now that's downtrending, so that's yet another bearish signal. The MACD that's starting to taper off here, move back towards the orange line. We'll have to see if it'll bounce off that or not. But more importantly here, back to the price action, what we can see is that we have a bit of a longer lower wick here on this previous candlestick, which means that it bounced nicely off the uptrend line, and followed that was the doji candlestick that we have over here, right? So at this point, we're going to see one of two things. We could either see it bounce really nicely off the uptrend line and go back towards, the $17,769 area, which would, put us back towards the highs and keep us making higher lows and higher highs. Or this is just showing some weakness and we're actually going to crack below the uptrend line, right? I'm a little bit more inclined to say that we're going to see this drop below the uptrend line at this point, considering the bearish signals on the indicators and the fact that it looks like just in general we're finally starting to see a little bit of weakness here just over the past couple days even, and things are starting to slow down a bit. So I do think we're going to lose this, short-term uptrend line. And actually, I realized that I was doing the technical analysis on Coinbase, which is fine, but let's go over to Bitstamp because I have some extra trend lines there. And as you can see, the trend line that I had on Coinbase was actually a very short-term trend line. That's this one right over here. So, of course, if we break through that, we could either see a little bit of consolidation here or pull back towards this secondary trend line, which is a bit more of a longer-term one, and get a bounce off that, right? So we do have quite a few support levels to go through if we're going to start falling lower, and we could see a bounce on any of these, but the next one, after we break through this level, would probably be the second one right over here. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And let's go over now to Ethereum. So like I said, Ethereum has actually been doing a little bit better than Bitcoin and Litecoin over the past 24 hours because it obviously got a bit of a delayed jump compared to those two. And we can see that it's not looking too bad right now. It basically broke back above our resistance level over here at, let's see, looks like it's $715 more or less, broke above that, and that pushed the prices a bit higher, put in a high on this candlestick of $744.80. Our current all-time high now is $700.84. So, we'll see if we'll go back to that, but right now it is seeing a little bit of upside momentum. Obviously, things are also slowing down here for Ethereum as well. We have a little bit of an upper wick in the making, and it's hard to say if it's going to see a couple more up days. It definitely could, but once again, it is overextended as far as the Bollinger Bands are concerned. We are trading fully above that, so wouldn't be surprised to see a move back, at least towards bounce off the upper Bollinger Band or even re-enter the Bollinger Band range, right? I think it's going to be one of those two things in the next couple days. Indicators, honestly, still looking pretty good. Not really moving lower just yet, so RSI above 80, that's always good. MACD histogram still looking strong. So we'll have to see if we're able to break above the $744.80 high that we put in today for a continuation higher, basically, or we're probably going to move back towards that upper Bollinger Band, right? So it is experiencing a bit more strength than Bitcoin and Litecoin, but I think it won't be able to escape the at least short-term pullback that these will probably all see at this point. Let's go over to Litecoin now and see what's been going on. So Litecoin got its pullback yesterday, and that's obviously what I was expecting. So let's see. As far as the RSI is concerned, we're still uptrending. That's obviously a good sign, and we'll have to see if we'll get a bounce off the uptrend line, right? So make sure that it has still a lot of strength in it, but MACD still looking pretty good. Histogram slowing down a bit and flattening out. Nothing too worrisome just yet. And what we can see here is kind of like what's happening to Bitcoin. So we had our drop, obviously. Here we actually bounced off the upper Bollinger Band, and we're currently holding right above that, right above our upper Bollinger Band. So that's once again a pretty hard area to sustain. We'll probably see the price move back into the Bollinger Band range. But at this point, it's looking like a bit of a doji candlestick, and after a drop, you can see a bounce when there's a doji candlestick formation like this after a drop. So same thing with Bitcoin, really. So the bounce is possible. It's just like seeing how things are slowing down, plus we have a double top over here. I think we probably will see the price at least consolidate in this range over here near $310. Probably break through this short-term uptrend line because it's very steep, very hard to hold, and move back towards this secondary trend line. That's, I think, the more important one that we should be looking at moving forward. Let's go over now to Ripple, which is actually one of the cryptos that's been doing really well recently and finally got a really nice breakout. So here we can see that we had put in a high of 54 cents. So we did manage to break above that 50-cent mark, and we have sold off from that pretty severely. So long upper wick here, still trading above the upper Bollinger Band, which, like I always say, is very hard to sustain. And on top of that, we have a doji candlestick in the making. So unfortunately, we can always see a continuation higher, but a doji candlestick like this after 2 big up days is probably going to signal a reversal. So we can see a move maybe lower towards, we could get a bounce off the upper Bollinger Band, or towards this 39-cent level, or even towards this $36 mark, where we haven't really came back and tested that. I mean, kind of did here, but we haven't really put in, a reversal back to that since our big breakout, right? So I'm not saying that it is necessarily going to drop that low, but we will probably see a bit of a drop here, considering the doji candlestick that we have in the making. And yeah, we can already see the RSI starts to flatten back out. So I'm not, bearish on Ripple or anything. I do think it'll move back above 50 cents in due time, but here in the short term, it probably got a bit of an overextended move, and that's being shown by the doji candlestick, which will probably mean a reversal in the short term. Let's go and see what's been going on with NEO. If I recall correctly, it got a pretty big drop yesterday, and let's see, maybe it wasn't NEO then, because it looks like it's doing pretty good here. So kind of volatile yesterday, did move around quite a bit, so it is possible that at the time of my daily crypto update, it was in this lower area. Looks like it bounced pretty nicely off the middle band, which is currently sitting at $37. Went all the way up to, our last resistance level before making an all-time high. So that's actually a very good sign. Hit $49.65 and pulled back from that, but we are still trading above our $43 mark, which is very important. And finally, actually, we're holding above that support level. So as you can see over here, we managed to crack above it a couple times, but we never held, and this is the first time that we're doing that. So that's actually a very bullish sign. We're also managing to stay above this short-term uptrend line, and that's a lot of positive things in the making right now for NEO. So obviously it looks like the cryptos are pulling, altcoins and stuff are pulling back a little bit and might see a little bit of weakness, but this is a pretty good setup for NEO right now. And maybe it obviously wasn't experiencing the same kind of jump as a lot of the other cryptos, so it might be a bit of a delayed reaction, and we could see it break out towards the all-time highs. So it's actually looking pretty good right now, especially if we can continue to hold above that $43 mark and even move higher back towards that 50-cent area, where we need to break above to really get a move towards the all-time highs. So I like NEO right now. Should also point out that we did cross over on the MACD, which is obviously a very bullish sign, especially considering that we had a somewhat long downtrend over here, which we actually tested the uptrend line, sorry, the orange line, failed that, and now finally got a second test where we actually moved above it. So that's a bullish signal right there. And let's go over to Vertcoin now, see what's been going on. And it looks like Vertcoin is getting a bit of a doji candlestick here after our pullback yesterday. So, we went down to $7.19, bounced very strongly off that actually, and now we're getting another consolidation candlestick slash doji candlestick. We have crossed over officially on the MACD, and that is a bearish signal. So I've kind of been calling for that in the past couple of days. We can see that the RSI is really starting to flatten out, and what this means for me at this point is pretty much just confirming what I thought, which means consolidation, right? Probably something very similar to what we have over here, except in this range near $8. And yeah, that's what it's looking like for now. Like I said, RSI flattening out. Got very similar move on the MACD and histogram as we did previously. And, yet again, a very flat candlestick. You can see the upper Bollinger Band and even the lower Bollinger Band starting to close in on the price. So that'll tighten up the range like it did over here. And maybe we'll get a strong bounce off the middle band, but that could also flatten out, which would just mean consolidation like we had over here, right? So probably going to consolidate a bit more for Vertcoin. Like I've been saying, I have been picking up some Vertcoin in this area. So just thought I'd share what I've been doing, but that's not financial advice. Let's go over and see what's been going on with Monero now. Looks like Monero is getting a bit of a bounce today, up 3% and moving above yesterday's open level, which was 305 and 42 cents. We could actually see a move back towards this $328 level at this point, because this was a pretty strong resistance area and we are now moving above it. So of course we have to hold this level, but it is looking pretty good here. Surprisingly, Monero once again doing the unexpected and managing to hold above its 75. I mean, we basically bounced pretty strongly here, and we're back above the 75 mark on the RSI, which is obviously bullish. looks like we might be breaking above the downtrend line on the histogram, but the MACD, we had some drops, but we're still looking very strong now. So it hasn't really managed to go and test that orange line yet, which means that we probably will see this move higher. We also have this, let's see, this uptrend line right over here that we're kind of still holding above. This is a short-term uptrend line, of course, but it is a good sign nonetheless. And yeah, at this point, I think that we're going to see it continue to move higher towards $328, maybe even back towards $350 if we're able to get a bit of a breakout there. And yeah, from there it could even make new all-time highs. That may take a little bit longer, that couple weeks maybe, but we should see it move back towards $328 at this point. It's still looking very strong. Let's go over to our next crypto, which is going to be, let's see, I need to pull out my list here, but that's going to be OmiseGo. And let's take a look. So it looks like OmiseGo is continuing its move higher. And like I said, I do think we're going to manage to go back towards the all-time highs eventually. A little bit of a delayed reaction as we saw with Neo, but we're holding above this short-term uptrend line, which is good. And looks like we're getting pretty close here to retesting this $11.11 area, which then puts us, basically a step away from our 11 cent and 69 cent area, which is the final resistance before really reaching the all-time highs. Could see a move towards that in maybe the next week or two. It is looking pretty strong here, and it's setting up nicely. So we also managed, let's see, did we manage to go above this downtrend line over here? We're currently struggling with that. That's going to be the final frontier, I guess, before we can really see a bit of a breakout here. So we just want to make sure that we get above this previous uptrend line, which is acting as resistance. And MACD has officially crossed over, which is a bullish signal, back above our uptrending channel on the RSI. So it's actually looking nice here. It's very similar to Neo, where it's probably going to get a bit of a delayed reaction breakout compared to some of the other cryptos, but nonetheless, they should start to move back towards their all-time highs now. Let's go over and see what's been going on with Lisk. Looks like Lisk is moving higher, up about 2%, crossed over on the MACD. Obviously bullish signal, and back above the 60 line on the RSI, coming very close to its final resistance before making it back to its highs, which is at $9.75. So we could definitely see a move above that in just the next couple of days, looking pretty strong here. I like the fact that we can see the upper Bollinger Band, the Bollinger Band's expanding basically, so we could get a bit of a breakout here towards, maybe back again towards $12. And I could see that happening in the next week or two. Now, a couple things you should be aware of. Based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like a lot of the smaller cryptos, they don't necessarily have to be, very small, but a lot of the cryptos that haven't seen a bounce as some of the others have, that's a better way to put it, are looking actually pretty nice here. So that would be Lisk, Neo, and Lisk and Neo and OmiseGo are actually all three looking pretty good. And the one thing they have in common is that they didn't see, a big jump like a lot of the others did. They were actually kind of downtrending and consolidating during that period. So they're getting a bit of a delayed reaction, it seems, and they might be the ones to make, new all-time highs next. So finally, let's go and check out what's been going on with Cardano and then Iota. And Cardano is actually looking really nice here, getting a nice overextended hook on the MACD. Histogram starting to uptrend again. Very powerful setup. You all know that I like this setup. It usually turns out very well and ends up with pretty strong move back to the upside. RSI now broke out of its downtrend and starting to uptrend again, which is a good sign. And let me just go ahead and put in that uptrend line over here on the RSI. So as far as the price action goes, as I expected, I called this in my previous daily crypto update, but we broke out of this downtrend and even managed to move above this 792 Satoshi resistance level. We haven't made it ourselves back above the middle band, but we could see that happen in the next couple of days. And what matters now is that we got out of this downtrend line, which is really what we wanted to see happen. So we probably won't see the price move any lower from here. Probably are going to hold above this 792 Satoshi level, like I said. And yeah, I think we're just going to uptrend, maybe slowly but surely, or we could see a breakout, but we're probably going to start uptrending along this uptrend line right over here, moving forward, and hopefully back towards that 1,000 Satoshi level. Now I'm going to put in a couple resistance levels just so you get an idea of where the price might face some trouble, but overall I think that we are going to be moving above those levels pretty quickly. So right over here at 852 Satoshis, and then probably going to be see a little bit of resistance over here at 1080, and obviously 1000 Satoshi is going to be a resistance level, but I think we'll see the price relatively quickly move back up above 1000 Satoshis. So looking like the end of the pullback here for Cardano, and I'm even going to put in a, kind of extend this uptrend line right over here, because we're now officially out of any kind of downtrend and really back into our uptrend here from our previous bounce, right? So this was just a pullback, and it was a pretty harsh pullback, but it looks like things are going to start turning back for the better here for our Cardano. Let's go and see what's been going on with Iota now. And like I said, got some controversy here with the fake Microsoft partnership. That's not exactly the correct way to put it. There was just a misunderstanding. I don't have all the details on that, but it definitely stirred stuff up, and looks like the MACD is coming back pretty quickly towards the orange line, which could mean a crossover, which would be bearish. Histogram now downtrending for sure, and broke back below the 70 line on the RSI. So a lot of bearish signals here on the indicators. Currently holding right above our support level that I put in at, let's see, $4, basically right above $4. So, if we see a break below that, and a break especially below this uptrend line right over here, we're probably going to see the price fall much more right down to this middle band. That would be the first level to expect a bounce. But with the drama, it could even move lower, right? So I won't be too bearish just yet, but we could definitely see a move back towards this middle band here pretty quickly if we break through that, which is looking like a definite possibility considering the drama that it's had. So hopefully it can hold above the uptrend line, but it's looking likely that we see a move lower, and that will mean that we'll have broke below our symmetrical triangle. That's the formation that we're in right now, and that's yet another bearish signal. So unfortunately, looks like Iota might have some shakiness here moving forward. This is the end of the daily crypto update, everyone. Like I said, a lot of the cryptos that were not doing that well during the big Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum jump seem to be setting up pretty nicely, and for all of the other ones, it looks like they're going to consolidate a little bit or slow down. With that being said, this is the end of the daily crypto update. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.